Well, we're live here again with the Gen X CalSense and Science Live Report. My name's Cody Sankey. We're joined here today by Gerald Callahan from Express Ranches, and we're coming to you live today from the Cattlemen's Congress in Oklahoma City, Oklahoma. Gerald, we're glad to have you. Thank you for being a part of it. We know you're a busy man at this event. You got a big day and judging the Angus bulls later today.
Yep, it stays pretty busy here. I'm chairman of the show, and so then I'm also today judging the Angus show, the Angus Bull Show, and I think that starts at 1 o'clock.
There you go. Well, Gerald, tell us a little bit about the history of the Cattlemen's Congress and how it started. We're in the second year of a new tradition. How did that all come about? It was kind of your brainchild.
Well, you know, when a show started canceling last year, the National Western, which is a very historic show, and then we heard that Fort Worth was canceling, I had a couple people call me and say, hey, what's the possibility? You think we could do something possibly at the state fairgrounds? And I said, boy, I don't know. They keep that thing awful busy with horse shows. So we contacted them, and they had these dates open last year, and so we got a group of people together, and we contracted with the Oklahoma Youth Expo staff, and then we rented the facility from the state fairgrounds, and we had about 60 days to put it all together, and it went really well. And at the time, we were just standing up the event as a replacement event, and we had so many people that liked the venue, that liked the cost, and we just said our theme was, when we started from day one, we were going to have a cattle show for cattle people. We weren't going to try to do too many things, too many species, too many events, and we just tried to get the input from the breed associations and from people that showed cattle, and try to make it as good of an event for them as we could.
Yeah. Well, and I know last year was outstanding. You know, you've had a year to make changes and bring it back this year bigger and better. You know, we moved the trade show here where we're set up into the different building, and that's an improvement and everything. You know, I was talking to Tyler Norvell, another 5 years, and this thing, it'll be a monster. Every year you get a little bigger and better.
Yeah, we've been really surprised at the entries. Really, we had right at 10,000 entries before any late entries came in. And I think I was talking to the different breeds. I think there's 300 and some junior Hereford heifers showing today. There's 300 and some junior Angus heifers showing tomorrow. And so the numbers have been really, really good, but we invested in tie-outs, and the State Fair is going to invest. In the next 3 years, there'll be a monster new Coliseum. They're putting in new horse racks. They started on new electricity for all the barns. Had a few supply chain issues, and so they only got about a quarter of the big cattle barn done. So we've got generators, big generators supplementing the power, which needs improved here. But we really have the community behind us. This was a time of year that the motels and restaurants really could use the business, and so we really had a lot of support from the governor, from the Secretary of Ag. The governor was here yesterday. The governor will be back tomorrow. And so, you know, cattle is a big industry in the state of Oklahoma, and we have amazing support from the legislature, from the political leaders to have this event, and I think it'll just get bigger and better.
Yeah, it's fun to come into an event where you're welcomed with open arms. Everywhere you go in town, they're glad you're here, and it's an ag community. You know, Oklahoma City, it's a small, big city.
Yeah, Oklahoma City is a cow town. I mean, you know, we still have Stockyard City. The two largest livestock auction markets in the U.S. are within 15 miles of here, with Oklahoma National Stockyards, with OKC West. And so, you know, Oklahoma City's always been a crossroads. You got I-44, I-40, I-35 running through here. You know, Oklahoma brings in a lot of cattle for wheat pasture. We have the beginning of the feedlots about 50 miles west of here, the large commercial feed yards. And so Oklahoma's always been kind of a crossroads for the cattle industry. You know, when you look at it number-wise, Texas is by far the largest cow-calf state with about 16%. Oklahoma has about 8%. Those two states together, just those two states, have almost 25% of the national cow herd, commercial cow herd. And so I think this is a great location for it, just simply because the cattle industry is so big.
Yeah. You know, and Gerald, I transition a little bit to, you know, in your full-time day job, you work for Express Ranches, and your side job, you're chairman of the board of the Cattlemen's Congress. But there at Express Ranches, you guys run a very diverse operation, all the way from selling show heifers to selling range bulls to having feed yards and retaining ownership. Tell us a little bit about what you do there with that.
Well, I'm blessed. We have a great ownership in Mr. Bob Funk, and Bob's very ag oriented and loves cattle business and loves, more importantly, the cattle people. And he's very supportive of agriculture, FFA, the cattle shows. He likes to exhibit cattle. We have a large commercial ranch in New Mexico, about 160,000 acre ranch out there, as well as the ranches here in Oklahoma. And we're about 75% Angus on the purebred side and about 25% Hereford. And we think those two breeds are complementary in the Southwest in terms of the F1 Black Baldy female. We try to concentrate on the bull market because I think in the purebred business in our part of the world that it's the foundation to have a really good enterprise in the purebred industry is that you've got to supply a product for the commercial industry. And we work hard at trying to do that. And we sell about 1,500 plus bulls a year. We have 3 bull sales, and then we sell quite a few bulls private treaty. And we really concentrate on that, and that's probably what we start with. But we also enjoy the phenotypic part of the business and showing cattle, and we exhibit at most of the major shows in the Angus breed and in the Hereford breed. And one of my particular favorite deals is I love showing the carloads and pens, and I always have, because it's a group and you work for uniformity, and it's probably got even a little more of a commercial flavor to it. And so I have a passion for that, and I really enjoy it.
And Gerald, talk about pens and carloads, and here at Oklahoma City, that's one of the things that you brought into this event when you had it. Now, what do you have over there to show? Since you're not judging the pens and carloads, what are you showing in there? You got 2 pens, Herefords, Angus. What do you got?
We're showing a pen of 5 Herefords,
yeah,
and we're showing 2 Angus carloads and 2 Angus pens. And so we've got, I think we've got 32 bulls over there in those barns that the guys are taking care of, and we're proud of this set. You know, every year you say, well, I hope this set's good or better than last year, but we've got a really nice set this year that we're real proud of.
And we're hoping, Gerald, next year the anchors of your pens will be Iconic Sons.
Well, we've used Iconic hard in our program. I've had the opportunity to look at him, and he got heavy use. In fact, I tried to buy part of him off Cody, and he wouldn't sell him to me. But we also, you guys have been good supporters of us, and the Superior Bull, we've got quite a few calves out of him, and we've got some more coming this year. And so we've used quite a few Gen X bulls, and we just bought a new Hereford bull together.
Yeah, we did.
We look for big things out of.
Yeah, and so while you bring up Superior, you know, that bull, I tell him he's probably one of the bulls that guys say, who's a hidden gem in your lineup. When you look at a bull that's calving ease, over 150 a year, over 1 on marbling, over 1 on ribeye, with some real hardcore data behind it. I know you really liked his mother.
Yep.
I mean, that he's doing some good things.
His mother's a 1752 cow, and we still have her in transplant. And one of the things that I always really liked about Superior, that was a heck of a flush that he was out of. He had good brothers, he had good sisters. There was just so much uniformity in that flush. And, you know, it goes back, she's a consensus 7229, a bull that we bought years ago at Jerry Keneally's that did such a good job and become a kind of a breed icon. He led the breed in registrations, I think just 1 year, but he was number 2 or so in a couple other years. And so I really like that cow. She's just a real functional, big-bodied cow, good milk to her, good feet, and I've really been high on that cow.
You know, and we just got some reports on the first set of our progeny test data on Superior, and the first kill data that came in on his progeny, we had 80% prime carcasses out of him, which probably doesn't shock you, but that's getting after it.
That's getting after it. That's really high, and we've used him. We'll have Superior Sons in the sale this spring, and the March Bull sale, and so we're using him in the program. You know, but one of the problems sometimes when you breed a bull, he's related to quite a bit of the cattle at Express, and so sometimes it limits the use, but we're using him where we can in the program because we believe in the whole deal there.
But, you know, another bull that we got with you that kind of an up-and-comer is called Leader. he probably fits a little more your phenotype driven market, but still with a pretty respectable number set to go with him.
Yeah, you know what we try to do, we look at the numbers. There's no doubt we look at the numbers, but we also, still yet 98, 99% of the cattle bought and sold in America are bought at least in part on their phenotype. And so phenotype is important to our customer base. They like for their cattle to look good. They like for them to have some eye appeal. And I think Leader's number profile, he's a very attractive bull. He's a bull that's got a good spread. And he's a bull that offers a very usable set of numbers and dollar indexes. And so we've got him actually turned out on a set of donor cows right now.
Yeah, he Leader did outstanding production. We got lots of conventional, even made sex semen on him. And Gerald asked if he could turn him out this fall on donor cows, so we sent him back. So he's just out here in Yukon spending his fall breeding cows. So
I think he's enjoying it.
He was liking a break from there. You mentioned a new bull that we got together and just got him this fall, a Hereford bull, horn Hereford, called Roughneck from Churchill. Kind of got lucky. I happened to stumble onto your place at the right time that day. Tell us about Roughneck, how you found him. And
well, I was just looking through Churchill's bull catalog and saw this horn bull that I liked the picture and the video of, and then I really liked his numbers.
Yeah.
And he's got a lot of marbling for a horn bull, and we were needing one, and so we were actually, Cody had came in that day, and so we were at one of my favorite Mexican restaurants eating lunch, and we were back and forth on the phone on buying the bull, and he said, "What are you doing?" And so I throw him the bull's numbers and said, "Hey, we might want to be in on this." And so I talked to Dale at Churchill, and so we've got a partnership of Churchill, Express, and Gen X on the bull, and we look for big things out of him. We're flushing cows to him, and I think he's a pretty unique individual, and so I have high expectations for Roughneck.
Yeah, I was able to got to see Roughneck this fall, and it's not good to try and compare someone to the greatest, but Sensation was so good in the Gen X lineup, but Roughneck has all the look and feel that he could follow in that footsteps of that bull. He's Cavanese, he's high phenotype, he's got the number set. He's an impressive bull. You'll see a full page in the new Gen X sire directory this spring, so we look for bright things out of him.
Yeah, he checks a lot of boxes, I think, for what we were looking for. To find the Cavanese and stuff that you want and still have the marbling that you need and the phenotype, that combination is what we're striving to do, and sometimes it's tough to find. And so when we found him, we bailed in, and we're going to use him pretty heavily.
Yeah. And Gerald, we talk about one thing, and you talk about phenotype and numbers, and all three of these bulls we've talked about, to me, really encompass what we talk about at Gen X, a cow sense and science philosophy. And I've always admired Express and what you do about how you blend that, the stuff that's measurable, the science, the genomics, the ultrasounds, the weights, with the intangibles, the mothering, the udder, the foot. Tell us your philosophy on cow sense and science and how that fits in at what you do.
Probably when I was a young guy, I made a lot of mistakes, and still do, by the way, but when I was a young bull, I was sitting around one day, this is 30 years ago, and I was making a statement way too often. This would be a really good bull if. This would be a really good bull, but. And, to be real honest, a really good bull is one that goes out and doesn't cause any problems for the commercial man. He stays in the pasture, he's got a good problems, and he gets the cows bred. And a real good bull has no value to the calves. And so, my philosophy is you first got to start with a good bull. He's got to have a good disposition. He's got to have good feet and legs. He's got to be able to stay in flesh. He's got to have a disposition that allows you to handle him and move him. And if you have your grandmother out taking care of him, that she doesn't have to worry about it. And then a real good bull, that's where the science comes in. And we have a lot of it available. And we genomic everything, and we always have. We believe in genomics. We believe in ultrasound. We believe in getting progeny carcass data on the cattle. And then that's where you can take that really good bull, and then you can make him a super good bull by adding all of the science that goes with it. And I believe you have to use both. I believe that the industry demands it. I think for beef to stay competitive in the marketplace, we're going to have to get greater efficiency, greater carcass merit to keep everybody happy with the eating quality at the prices that they're having to pay for the product. And so I think it takes all of it. But I think you first have to use some common sense and And you have to evaluate those traits that maybe genomics can't yet do a real good job of. Maybe we don't have an EPD for it, and then you have to add the science on top of it.
Yeah, and it's a real balancing act to get it all to mesh together and create a product. You guys, Octave and Veer is the #1 seed stock producers. You got a lot of head to work through to blend that together.
We try. We have our successes and our failures, but that's the fun part about the business is that you always hope that the next calf crop is better. You always address what you need to do and what you need to tweak and to get them better, and we're constantly trying to do that. And so that's the really fun, exciting part of being in the purebred cattle business is the chase to make each successive generation better than the last, to service your customer base, and to supply them with the best product you can to try to help them on their profitability.
You talk about the future of the beef business. What do you see that? Where are we headed here in the next year to 5 years? What do we got coming down the road?
Well, I'm really, really bullish about the cattle market. I think if you look at numbers, partly, the liquidation, beef cow liquidation has been amplified by the droughts in the West, and so our numbers would say that we are in for some good times. And so I think on the price side, we're going to like the prices. The question, I think, for all of us is going to be on the expense side. There's no doubt that we have inflation going on. We got supply chain problems. If we can afford the inputs, I think we're in for some really good times the next 3 to 5 years. I'm really bullish on the market. I think we'll see fed cattle sometime this spring that'll be at some highs that we haven't maybe ever seen, but certainly haven't seen in quite some time. And the question will be is what does it cost to produce them? And because I think the market side of it will be good.
So tell us, Gerald, you dabble in the feed yard business. So we've talked about Express, we've talked about all that. Tell us about that.
Yeah, we own part of a feed yard in Oklahoma, and we develop, we grow some of our bulls there, but we also feed cattle there. We sell to about all the major packers, but we also have a deal with Creekstone whereby the Express sired calves can go on their own grid or actually receive a premium even on a live basis over Kansas Top. And our proximity, it's at Watonga, the proximity to Ark City helps them to start their weekly slaughter on Mondays, and so it's geographically convenient for them in terms of getting that Monday morning started off. And so, but we feed cattle, and I've always fed cattle. I grew up feeding cattle, and it's something that I enjoy doing. I like it a lot better when they're making money.
Yeah, yeah, I know how that is. But well, Gerald, we appreciate you taking time to join us here. We know you're a busy guy. You got meetings and all this show, so we know to get you to sit down here for a little bit of time this morning. We sure appreciate it. But we always like to wrap up. You talked about your favorite Mexican place. I always ask people when they come to you, wherever town they're from, where should you eat? What is that place?
Well, in Yukon, where we're headquartered, we go to Alfredo's in Yukon.
It is.
Here in Oklahoma City, we're pretty high on the Ranch and Mahogany's.
The Ranch and Mahogany Prime. I can vouch for Mahogany Prime. We tried that last night, and we'll have to try the Ranch tonight. But
it's very good.
Well, Gerald, thank you much.
You bet.
We enjoyed it. Best of luck today judging, and we'll talk to you soon.
Thank you.
Thank you. Yeah, so Justin, real quick, going to give a panoramic view here and show you where our booth is at the stock show. We're right next to the Cattleman's Bar. If you want to come look us up and you're down here and spend the afternoon with us, we'd love to sit down and visit and talk about Gen X bulls. But thank you for joining us live on the Cow Sense and Science Report.